get out of the office and literally go and meet people. Those key players that would forever change my clinic in the most positive way because they would refer multiple patients and give me all that word of mouth goodness. That was the day I would go network. I would get out of the office and literally go and meet people. Those key players that would forever change my clinic in the most positive way because they would refer multiple patients and give me all that word of mouth goodness. I spent all Tuesdays. I might have 3 or 4 meetings back to back to back, right? I meet with a physical therapist, and then I run down the street and meet with a chiropractor, and then I'd run, 30 minutes north and meet with a gym owner, and then I'd run 30 minutes south to go meet with another gym owner. Every single Tuesday, I would just try to pack as much of that kind of stuff in as possible because I didn't have a ton of money at the time. Like I wasn't about to spend a bunch of money on ads that I, was no good at producing and certainly, didn't seem to help anyways. I wasn't going to spend that time seeing patients because, again, that's not really helping grow the business. It's helping bring in revenue, which is really important. But I need more exposure, and I need to make these systems flawless. Excuse me, I'm going to sneeze. The only way I could ever really do that is by taking time away from being in the business. And it really seriously changed everything for me. I remember my dad. I love my dad. He's so funny. Like, he's a super hard worker like that. He's an old school, he worked in the restaurant industry, owned his own restaurant. He was a business owner. And, it was just work. You just grind and you keep your head down. And I love that because I got a lot of my work ethic from him, certainly. But I remember telling him like, I have Tuesdays off. And he was like, what? What do you mean you have Tuesdays off? You should be working. And I had to like explain to him like, no, I am working. I just, I have Tuesdays off. I'm not in the clinic working, but it was still hard for him to like, what do you mean? Like, what are you doing? And anyways, like, I just remember laughing because, I remember being a little nervous about it. Like, am I making the wrong decision here? Like, is this stupid? Does this make any sense? And, time and time again, it was the best thing that I ever did. It really was like that ranks up in the top, 5 to 10 things that I did that and by the way, I'm not like the only person who's ever thought of that ever. But it was unique in the sense that I didn't meet necessarily a lot of other business owners who would go about doing that. And in fact, a good friend and colleague of mine who was a therapist and owned his own practice, he was one of the first people that kind of introduced me to that. He would always have he called it an admin day, which I think is respectable too, right? You're getting to emails and just the stuff that, is not something that's maybe super important during your day to day, but you kind of need to get to at some point. And he always took one day off during the week. And he was a very busy guy, by the way. Amazing practice, very successful practice, multiple therapists beneath him working hundreds of patients or, clients, whatever they call them. But, I didn't start out with one day off per week. And very quickly, I realized, and I was fortunate. I got busy with some patients, but I just started realizing how much time I could spend in the business and not on the business. So when I took that leap of faith, it was, again, when you're a business owner, get used to just taking leaps of faith a lot. In fact, it's probably a really good idea to just take as many of them as you can as often as possible. So you just get your feet wet and you get used to it. But it really positioned me to grow in ways that I could never have done if I had just, again, put my head down and tried to work 9 to 5, Monday through Friday kind of thing. Thank you so much for checking out this clip and tuning in. I hope you enjoyed it. If you really liked it, I definitely recommend that you click here to watch the whole entire video where I go into much more detail. Thank you again for joining, and I'll see you there.